Welcome to another Lorehammer Lockdown. I'm Mark. Eric's not here for this one. This episode I actually recorded a while ago, a handful of months ago. I went on vacation down to Florida, and I met up with a listener named Nick, and we ended up just having a conversation. I recorded it, and I thought, hey, now's the perfect time to release it. So, yeah, here's a conversation with Nick. He was a pretty good guy, pretty cool. He ended up buying me dinner, so it was a good time. Hope you guys enjoy.
Welcome to Lorehammer. We got a special episode again here, a little bonus episode for everyone. My name's Mark, and today with me we got Nick. How's it going, buddy?
Hey there, hi there, ho there. They call me the Florida Man.
Oh, the gator wrestler.
Oh yeah, but you know who calls me that?
Who?
No one.
Oh, well, at least.
But you know what they really call me? A mistake. Especially my mother.
I've been called that too.
Especially my mother. Just kidding. Not my mother. Just everyone else.
Yeah. This is Nick. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Mark, it's really great to be here.
Yeah. So I'm actually on vacation right now. I went down to Florida, and before I left, I sent out a message like, "Hey, if you're in Florida, come meet up with me."
Yeah, and
you were the only person I liked out of all, let's say, 52 people. Let's make you feel special.
Oh, wow, 52 people.
Yeah, you were the cutest. So I'm like, ooh.
Oh.
Offering the most foot rubs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get in those bunions. But, no, so I really wanted to meet you guys.
And then you were disappointed when it was just me.
Yeah, I was mainly disappointed. Yeah. And then you brought your wife along, too, for some reason.
Yeah. She was just trying to escape the parents.
I know. Aren't we all? But, yeah, so I saw the post, and I was like, oh, wow, you're actually in Florida. Oh, I live in Florida. What a coincidence. And then I looked, and I was like, well, how far of a drive are you? And you're like, I'd say about an hour and a half. Yeah. And I was like, okay. What's my work schedule look like? And I was like, okay, well, let's have Thursday. And she's like, yeah, so we try to plan around that. And then Mark's like, yeah, so that's not going to work out.
Is that how I sound?
Yeah, so, well, kind of, I don't really know. This is just me and the big fat Adam's apple I have. You're like, careful, don't get too close. I mean, it'll poke your eyes out, really. But, we tried to set up for a date, and then Mark was just basically, yeah, so
I'm flaky. I'm a very flaky
man.
Yeah,
you're very fickle. You kind of just went like, okay, so this day's going to work. It's like, now this day. And so
I had to double check with everybody, make sure everyone's good.
Checking the list, and, checking it twice. Who's naughty and who's nice?
Yeah.
I'm naughty.
Ooh.
But yeah, so we finally decided to do a day, which was Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I actually decided to pick out a place where we wanted to eat, but you wanted a nice Florida theme.
Yeah, I wanted to feel like I'm in, would you call it the Bayou? No, that's...
Well, I would say, no, the Bayou's more of like Louisiana.
Yes,
the Everglades, that's more of Florida, really.
Okay, yeah. I'm just an ignorant Canadian, so I don't really know.
Who am I?
But yeah, so we went to, what was it called? Like Catches on the Water?
Bar, or Catches Seafood Grill.
Yeah, it's pretty good little theme in there.
Oh yeah, nice, and it was pretty quiet too. But then again, it was kind of like a Tuesday, so who would really show up there? Like, no one parties on a Tuesday.
The thing that always catches me off guard whenever I come to America is just the proportion sizes, man.
Oh yeah,
even in the airport, I'm like at a Wendy's, and I'm like, yeah, can I get a small? Like I'm about to hop on a plane, I don't want to piss myself, and the drink comes out, and it's fucking huge. It's just like, this is a small. Okay.
Listen, you're not a true American if you don't get diabetes from one sip.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, so you ordered the about portion size. You actually ordered, it was the King Hawaiian burger,
something like that.
Yeah, so it's basically like this big, huge burger. I got myself some snow crab, and then your wife got...
She got a salmon salad.
Salmon salad, so...
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it actually... I'm not a big rabbit food guy, but that was... that actually didn't look too bad.
Yeah.
And, I'm a big seafood guy, but you weren't.
No, I'm very landlocked in my taste buds.
Landlocked.
Cow, chicken, pig.
Human
on occasion, I dabble.
On occasion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of picked up there, and...
You bought me dinner.
I bought you dinner.
So now I can say Lorehammer has finally paid off.
Yes.
All the years of doing podcasts has finally paid off in one free dinner.
Oh, yes.
So
I'm sorry, Eric, when you listen to this, I'm going to have to, wait on yours. And,
I'm bringing him back some leftovers.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe got a little doggy bag for him.
Well, I mean, your mom, did you save the bread when your mom ate the rest of that burger?
Yeah, that's what he's getting.
Oh, yes. The soggy bun.
Yeah.
I like the special sauce you put in it.
Thanks. Yeah, that's mold. That's mold, Eric. Yeah, that's mold sauce.
Oh, I was talking about a different sauce, but okay.
No, I keep that sauce for other people.
Oh, okay. I hopefully just one.
Let's see what today goes.
But yeah, so we got there. You basically showed up in your big old Lorehammer shirt. Your wife. You guys were like, here I was in a big jacket and all that. And you just showed up in one long sleeve shirt, some jeans. Your wife basically had like a dress, and then like a little, I guess like a small like little roby thing.
I think they call them cardigans.
Cardigans? Okay, yeah. She just basically had that, and y'all were just like, yeah, no, this is great.
It's beautiful weather.
Beautiful weather.
Yeah, no, this right now is like a nice day in Calgary, like in the summertime. Like,
oh wow, really?
Yeah, like highs usually of like 25. Well, we get the odd like 30 day. I guess that means nothing
this would be considered like really nice here in Florida, because when you get here like in the summer, it's just blistering heat because we have that humidity. So like say for example, if it's like 90 degrees with that humidity, it's like 105.
Yeah.
And it's sticky. I don't like being sticky.
No, it's nice. Right now we're just
ooh.
Yeah, right now we're just like sitting on a patio right now, just looking out over some water.
Oh yeah, the
nice.
view he has, like I'm not gonna
describe everything.
Well, the address is
and they're gonna be here at this time to this time.
Just like this is who they're sharing the house with. The social security cards, credit cards, everything.
Oh, you gotta get those credit cards.
Oh yeah, I mean I gotta somehow pay for my Warhammer figures. But really, more or less. So yeah, this right here is just what Florida is, and what do you really think before we, I guess, do any get
40K.
into it?
We are gonna get into some 40K stuff. We're just shooting the shit.
Shooting the shit. But what do you think of like Florida compared to like I guess Canada as a whole, or just Calgary?
It has pros and cons. Like summer here is gonna suck because, like you said, it's gonna be super hot, unbearable. Right. Winter, obviously, in Canada sucks because it's super cold.
right.
It's like I don't know. It's nice. I have nothing against.
I will say that here in Florida, and specifically like the location where you're at, you have a lot of things to do. Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like when we're driving, you see all these things. Like we went to just a place called Gatorland. They had a bunch of gators there, and like I'm talking like over 3,000 gators, just like in these tiny pens.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty wild. Like every time you're driving, you just see a new thing that you're like, oh, I could go do that. Where it's definitely not like that.
Yeah,
in Calgary.
If you're ever in Florida, or if you're a real Floridian, you've been to Gatorland, and you know what that place is like. But if you ever want to go to Florida and get a taste of it, Gatorland's the place to go.
I would say that would be like...
By the way, I'm not affiliated. I don't own any stock in the company.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Like if I didn't have friends and family in Calgary, I don't think I'd live in Calgary.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
you can make friends with me!
Oh, yeah, I could move everywhere, but what would Eric do if I left?
He can move here.
He can move up. Ugh.
I'll offer him some foot rubs.
Steel's getting worse all the time.
Pray I don't alter it any further.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to remove your foot
I think that counted as the ad for Christian and Jordan's podcast there. Just those two little meme lines. Now I don't have to do it on a main episode.
Oh, wait, we have to acknowledge them?
I had to, yeah. It was part of the 7-year contract with him. So, yeah.
Well, I guess I might as well acknowledge him too. Hey, Eric, whenever you listen to this, Jordan.
Oh, Eric's not going to listen.
Oh, he's not going to listen?
No.
Oh.
He hates people.
Oh. Heart shattered.
Yeah. Jordan will listen, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Because he has to edit it.
How's that facial hair, Jordan?
The what?
The facial hair. He's
the facial
hair. He's got like a curly mustache, right?
Oh, yeah, he's a hipster.
Oh, my gosh. Milady. And then, Christian.
That's enough about him, I think.
Yeah, I think we went into very detailed with him. But yeah, it was. I honestly want to say, I guess we can kind of like move on to how I got into the podcast and how I got into Warhammer and all that. Yeah. So, the two kind of tie together really. So, I guess we'll start with like Warhammer. So, about a year ago, I was watching a YouTuber who I like called Eckhart's Ladder, and he always did these comparison videos of like what would Star Wars armies do against like armies from like Warhammer 40K.
Sure.
And it's always like, what the hell is like 40K?
Yeah.
I've like heard the term, but I was like, and they always seemed like 40K would always win. I was like, what the hell? It's like, first off, I'm a true Star Wars fan. I love it, and I always play. I always love the Empire. I always love the Stormtroopers, Clone Troopers, all that stuff. And it's like, how the fuck are they gonna be? How are they gonna be?
Have they ever seen a Death Star before?
Yeah, Star Destroyer, TIE Fighter's best starfighter in the entire galaxy. But I'm like thinking, how does this always win? So I decided to type up like Warhammer 40K, and I clicked on this YouTuber called 40K Theories.
Yeah.
And I think I just clicked on one of his videos. I don't know what it was or anything like that. And I just tried to listen to it, and I couldn't understand like what it was. I don't know what he was talking about or anything.
Yeah, without any context, if you're just thrown into a 40K talking session,
it was
rough.
I was like, "What the hell is this?" And this sounds so boring. I literally and I tried to get into it by watching multiple videos, and you know what? I fell asleep.
Yeah.
It was a good nap too. So I mean, it was beneficial.
Yeah. So
but
not all things are bad. Then.
That was really more or less the tie of it. But I kind of understood. Okay, so it's a tabletop game, and it's like this big scale universe. That was my understanding of it.
Yeah.
Couple months pass. And, I'm just kind of bored. I've been playing video games, and I was just like, okay, I want something
The depression
new.
is seeping in at this point.
I mean, it's already there. It's already seeped in. I guess it's now just wrapped around the heart even tighter. So I just basically was like, okay, maybe I'll give this another chance. So I decided to basically look and go into it, but I decided to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
And... again, I couldn't get into it as well. I learned more about it, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is a little bit more interesting. It's a huge universe.
Oh, there's so much.
Where nothing could be compared to, and I didn't really know how heavy the lore was, but it seemed like it was on the level of Star Wars.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, that was my comparison for it.
Sure.
So, through there, I just started doing, just looking up through it, and then I saw something called a battle report. Which was my first introduction to the tabletop.
So you never Googled minis before that. That was your first actual. You knew it was a tabletop game, but you didn't know
I knew it was a tabletop game, and it had a big lore, kind of even though it was I guess with Warhammer it was a game and then they built lore through it.
Yeah.
While Star Wars it was a movie and it had lore with it.
Yeah.
And then it had games and figures and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's it completely vice versa, you would say. So from there I was like, oh, okay. So you're telling me that all I have to do is just buy this figure and it comes built and painted and stuff like that?
Oh, you dumb fuck. You dumb. Come on.
Dumb. So I'm thinking, oh man, it's so cool. And then I'm just seeing them rolling dice. Lots and lots of dice. And I'm thinking, he's like, all right, he hits. He's like, oh, he hits?
Yeah.
What does he hit with? He wounds? He wounds now. I thought he already hit. And then he's like, what's your strength? Strength? I don't know. It all depends how hard he's hitting.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, this sounds so nerdy. He's like, what loser plays this? And then lo and behold, I'm still getting pretty bored, and then I just keep watching.
Depression takes one more clench around your heart.
It just gets. It's one more grip, and it's like, okay, now I'll actually sit down and try to learn this a little bit.
Yeah.
But as far as learning the rules and stuff like that, no. I just watch the battle report, and I'm just I watch it through to the end, and I don't fall asleep that time.
Nice.
So I was very, very good on that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this looks pretty interesting. And then I found a video called, what was it? Dawn of War Ultimate Apocalypse Mod.
Oh, yeah.
In the review. And it was by Mandalore Gaming. Shout out to him. I don't know him or anything, but that was the video.
Yeah.
And it was basically a strategy game. On the desktop and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's an RTS.
And it was in the 40K universe.
Yeah.
And they had this faction called the Imperial Guard.
Ooh, yeah, girl.
And they were just basically normal soldiers with big tanks, big guns, and all that stuff.
And a lot of men.
A lot of men. and like these things called commissars. Which I'll get onto my opinion about them later.
Sure.
But it was just like so immersive, and they had like so many things like in it. It wasn't just like, and it wasn't it was a mod, so it wasn't like the vanilla game.
Yeah.
So it had things, I guess, in the lore that weren't even. I guess some of it was. It still isn't even integrated in the tabletop.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this looks so cool. So I bought the Dawn of War, and then I downloaded the mod, and I just played endless amounts, and I only played Imperial Guard. That was it, and it would be against anything. And I would just I was like, holy shit, this is so much fun.
That's so good.
Then I got back into the lore to learn more about it. And it was like, wow, this is actually in depth.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh wow, a couple weeks go by, and then I'm like tired of the game a little bit. Like I still play it every now and then, but now I'm like,
this would have happened pretty recently too.
Oh yes, this is very recent. Like for me, I would say like when I got into like Warhammer, really, I'd say about 2 months ago.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So
and like
fairly
Dawn
new.
of War 1 is probably like 10 plus years old. 15 maybe even?
15. I think it came out in like 2001.
That old, holy moly.
I could be wrong.
Sure. But it's an old game, so I can see how you could get bored of it pretty quick.
Well,
like this.
But it's not like they just added like units and that was it. Like they worked on pathfinding and all that stuff. So it was basically, if they added like some updated graphics, stuff like that, it would look really good.
Oh, okay.
But carrying on from that, I was like, okay, I'm going to decide on actually thinking about doing the tabletop.
Yeah.
And I looked around to see, okay, do I have a place where I can get this? And the only thing I knew on a place where you get it was a Games Workshop.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to order from online just because it would take too long and the prices
and you had the itch. You needed it right away.
Yeah, just to really see like what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need to just... but I didn't want to buy like everything and stuff like that. I just was like, okay, I'm just going to buy the Codex for the Imperial Guard only because that's who I loved. That's all I wanted to play as. Like when I played on that Dawn of War, I tested like one or two things.
Sure.
Which were like the Inquisition, which was a mod or a mod add-on to it. The Night Lords were just basically chaos.
Yeah.
And the Sisters of Battle like once or twice.
Okay.
So, but it was always Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I love them. And I'm going to play them if I ever get into this game. So I find it, and there is a Game Workshop in Orlando, or Winter Park, really.
Sure.
So I decided to go, okay, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to basically buy the Codex, and that's it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to learn through the lore.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah. This will lead to my ambition.
I'm just going to go in there and spend just $50.
Oh, $50? It was like... I gotta look at the receipt. Got a bit more?
Don't do it ever.
So I go. I decided to I plan the day. I'm like, okay, I have this day off, and I'm going to go.
Yeah.
But on the car rides, I wanted to listen to something related to 40K. Usually, when I'm in the car, I listen to music or an occasional podcast, and I don't listen to many. Like including this podcast, I listen to 3.
What other ones do you do?
The H3 podcast.
What's that? I'm just in the market for a new podcast.
So he basically talks about like YouTube and really just like stuff that's going around in like the world or stuff like that, social media as a whole. Okay. And then the official podcast, which is pretty much like the same thing, but they have less of a filter.
Okay.
So I think you would like them more, if I'm going to be honest.
What are you saying? That I am a crude person? With no filter? That I've said some racy things online? What are you saying?
Don't kick me out of the house just yet. We still got the foot rub. But no, so I'm not a big podcast guy only because, I don't know. I was in that mentality of just wanting to watch it.
Sure.
Well, with 40K, I can't sit down and watch it just because it. Mainly because of the YouTubers, like 40K Theories, nothing wrong with him. He's very informative, but his voice is very mundane.
There's a couple out there like that where
and it's just so it sounds so bleak, And it's just very, and they'll go to like extreme depths of which when I get into when I listen to your podcast, it's just like to the point of like absurdity. Like I don't really need to know what the emperor's pinky toe is thinking right now.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, sure. I think we all do, but not at this moment.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to listen to something, but 40K related.
Yeah.
So I pull out my phone, and I go on Spotify, and I literally just type in the words Warhammer lore. And the first thing that pops up is Lorehammer. And it's got your podcast and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, how many episodes does it have so far? Well, I don't know. I didn't see like when you guys started it or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like thinking, okay, if this has like 1 or 2 episodes, what's the point of me really doing it?
Yeah.
And I think it was at the point when you guys had just...
yeah, like if it was 2 months ago, roughly, it'd be like 60 episodes out. Like
60
content
episodes,
and not like bonus episodes.
Either like something about like either it ended like with an Eldar episode, or it ended like with like an orc episode.
Sure.
I'm not 100% sure.
But there's a lot. Hundreds of hours. Hundred hours.
Hundreds of hours. And it's like I'm looking through, okay, so how much detail is this? And like, okay, so it's not just like, okay, 20 minutes done. It's like, no, there's like, I'd say about an hour and a half, an hour and 45, sometimes over 2 hours per
Sometimes we've had some 3-hour episodes.
Yeah, like and it's like per podcast. I'm like thinking, okay, this is something I'm going to get into. And you do it, and the way I saw it looked like in chronological order. So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The funny thing about this is the time I started listening to it, my phone internet connection was really bad. So when I started playing it, it was just, it did every 3 seconds, and then it paused.
Oh, that would
and
just
waited
be
for
worst.
like 3 seconds and then kept going.
Oh.
And it was driving me up the wall, geez. But I was like, no, I'm bound to determine to listen to this. Because like when I first like heard, like y'all's voice, like you, Eric, and Jordan's, it was just basically like, hey, we're wacky and kooky and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, wacky and kooky, yeah.
Yeah, fuck one is white. Wait, what?
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? And basically what you guys did is like, hey, we're just building the framework, and we'll go into like the later things, or I guess the more detailed things later.
Yeah.
So it's like I can get into this because it's going to be in bite-sized portions.
Yeah. That's not like shitting on like any YouTubers or anything, but as far as I can tell, it just they kind of just do random stuff always. There's no flow to it. It's really hard to get into the lore because, like you said, you click on a video, you have no idea what any of it means. Mm-hmm. There's no real good starting point. So yeah, that was definitely one thing we consciously wanted to do, was make it easy for people to get into it.
Yeah, and so long story short, when I got down to the Games Workshop, I bought the codex. That was it. Well, they had I did want to ask about painting and stuff like that, because I said that was what really intimidated me.
Yeah.
Because I was like thinking, okay, wait, so I had to paint these guys now? wait, I had to glue them? What do you mean I got to get clippers and an edge knife?
Yeah.
Or sculptor's knife, whatever it's called. It's like, wait, how much for this paint? Wait, what?
Yeah.
10 guys, $40 plus tax?
Oh. Yeah.
And they do how much damage? None. Those later might blind an eye for a minute.
Yeah.
Those las guns. But so I got in there. I went home, and I still listened to the podcast. And I was actually listening to it while I was reading the codex. And I was like, no, I stopped reading the codex just so I could continue listening to the podcast.
Ooh, better
because
than
it was just so enjoyable, with your quirks and stuff like that. Just doing stuff like, I can't read.
Oh, jeez.
My favorite Mark quote, just for a reason, just in case any of my coworkers listen to this, and I don't want them reporting, was when Mark is just basically saying, just out of the nowhere, I'm working, and he's just like, they did horrible things to my mother.
They raped my mom.
They raped my mom.
I don't even remember the context to that.
Yeah,
I just remember
I haven't
saying
gotten to the episode yet because I'm actually listening to it. Yeah, there it is.
Why?
And I wasn't mentally prepared for it, so I was literally dying for like 3 minutes. minutes when I heard that. And of course, my laugh, it sounds like I'm trying to breathe from air, like,
Yeah.
And of course, they're like, "You all right?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, I was just listening to something funny. He's like, "Oh, really? What did they say?"
Ooh. It was a knock-knock joke. Yeah.
The greater good. Ooh. But yeah, so that was just basically my introduction to y'all. I recently finished up from where y'all are at, and I did listen to the new episode with like the homunculi covens.
Ooh, that was a good one.
And I honestly would say, like, I'm not like, for me, I'm just strictly Imperial Guard and like Imperial side.
Sure.
So to see a faction that I really like, Eldar and Dark Eldar.
Yeah.
To me, they're really just elves.
Oh, yeah.
Really, and they're so to me boring. They've got some interesting history, like they birthed a chaos god.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And then they got like the Black Library and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
But to me, they will always just be elves.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Big cone head helmets.
That is definitely where it started. It's definitely morphed away from that a lot, but that's definitely, first glance, very much.
Yeah, so from there, I just basically started to buy some box sets. I don't have much now.
How many points about?
I'd say a little bit under 1,000. It's about...
That's not bad for a couple months, though.
No. So, like, when I buy a box set, it's going to be built, primed, and painted that day.
All of it.
All of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
Like, one day, like, for example, I did 15 conscripts in, like, one day. Of course, it was miserable.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to cry. But, I mean, I can, like, for example, like, 10 guardsmen. I can build them, paint them and prime them in 6 hours.
Yeah, they're like the
Now,
ultimate
this isn't
batch
parade
painting.
ready. It isn't parade ready. It's just battle ready. And, well, I was actually very blessed when you actually said they looked pretty good.
Yeah, like
So,
they look decent. Like I wouldn't
say
I would
they're...
love to play an army like that. Like the one thing too is it's all fucking painted.
Oh yeah, it's
Like-
all painted. Like that's my thing too. I'm not putting anything out on the field if it's not built, painted, and primed.
Yeah,
Just because...
because you're an elitist.
Well, not only that, but...
but also,
it ruins the cinematic.
yeah.
For me.
Yeah, and 40K
ruins,
is such a visual setting. Yeah.
Oh
when you
yeah,
put down
it's
just
kind of
gray
like
plastic.
why I won't really proxy anything. I run WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got. But I have. I would say I actually have more than 1,000 points now with some other box sets that I haven't built.
Sure.
But I haven't really had time because of work, and it's been Thanksgiving. I work at a grocery store.
Oh yeah, then that'd
So
be hectic.
and
Yeah.
it being Thanksgiving, I just really haven't had time, and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I'd say a little over 1,000 points. But if we're gonna add all together, I've got 1 command squad, 3 infantry, heavy weapons squad, which are the mortars, a Lehman Russ, 2 Lehman Russes. One's like the Demolisher variant, but one's like the standard Lehman Russ.
Sure.
I mean, that one's not built yet. Let's see, 3 Sentinels, 2 Chimeras, a Commissar. About to be 2 Commissars, really. And then I think that's about it. But
What would be your favorite guard model that you own, or just in general if you don't already own it?
the favorite guard model.
Yeah.
Are we
Including
supposed-
vehicles, yeah.
Including vehicles?
Like
Ooh.
look-wise, lore-wise, whatever. Just what... Yeah.
That's I'm gonna have to pick 2 actually.
No, you're not allowed.
What?
Only one.
Only one.
Hard choices here at Lorehammer.
Hard choices.
Yeah.
But I like it easy.
No, only one. You have to narrow it down.
Okay. You know what? I can actually narrow it down to 1. It's because for lore wise, I can pick something else for it. But for tabletop, and I guess really for more or less lore wise, is the Basilisk. I love it being this big, huge artillery shell
Yeah.
or gun that can fire and move. I mean, you don't want it to move on tabletop,
No.
but it's a big gun that does a lot of damage from like.
Yeah, like, what's the
literally say
range on a
from,
Basilisk,
like
like?
several continents away. Maybe in lore wise, but I mean, like in tabletop, it could shoot anywhere on the map. It has 270-inch range, which I did the math. It's 22 and a half feet.
Sure.
So
yeah,
I mean, unless you're playing like an
4x6
apocalyptic
board,
round with like something that big, but I mean at that point, go home and cry. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's all your college tuition right there. But that it's just it to me it basically represents the Imperial Guard. Something with it's a big guns that do a lot of damage, but from far away. Not
Sure.
like Tau, where they got like the lasers.
Yeah,
and
like
the
it's like the difference
pulse.
between like a scalpel and a hammer. Like both are gonna mess you up when it hits you. The Tau is like the rail gun. It's like that clean burst. But like the guard is that hammer where you get hit and it obliterates it
Like a
completely.
power fist and a power sword.
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly.
One's
Yeah.
gonna just really knock your teeth out. The other one's just gonna slice and dice them.
Yeah. So no, that's a good unit. That's a very iconic guard unit for sure.
Oh yeah, but
We're just recording outside, so if you hear this vehicle driving by,
and hopefully the wind isn't picked up too much.
yeah, I think we should be good. But we're also not recording on we're doing it
Yeah.
off my iPhone right now. But
Yeah. Hopefully it's not
Should
like. But yeah, so for me, I am very new to this. To lore, to the game, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do want to. I hope this is all right. I actually do want to give a shout out to a couple of people.
Oh yeah, buddy.
So and I'll probably say this at the end too, just for like people who are nearby. But anyway, so I want to give a big shout out to Nick.
You're Nick though.
Nick Bean.
Okay.
To me!
I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to myself here, Nick.
Shout out to my boy Nick.
Great guy, hell of a guy.
So Nick actually runs a board game shop called Breakpoint Games. It's actually in Mount Dora, so it's actually only 20 minutes from my house. So rather than going to Orlando, which is like an hour drive, it's closer to Breakpoint. Is only 20 minutes. Saves me time. And saves me gas.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that is Nick is a really awesome guy. And what they have is they have a 20% off on all their products if you prepay. So basically, if you pay that item in full, and before like the ordering process goes through, you get 20% off. So if it's $50, it's now $40, which in Warhammer
that adds up.
It adds up.
Yeah.
And like I honestly wouldn't have as much stuff as I do now, nor the stuff I'm going to get for Christmas. Sorry, Mom, if I spend it all on that. Don't be too disappointed in me.
She'll get over it. So what was that store called? It was called
Breakpoint Games.
Breakpoint Games, yeah.
I guess this could. I don't want to steal the thunder for it, but I guess this would kind of be like a community shout out in a sense.
Yeah. It's a community corner.
Yeah, community corner.
Perfect. Yes.
So we actually have a Warhammer group there too, but I won't get too much into that. But some people there like Joel, Brittany, Tom, James. Tira Nick. We have a third Nick too.
There's 3 Nicks.
Yeah, so I'm Astra Nick.
Oh, okay.
He's Tira Nick, and then Nick Bean is just
the bean.
He's the Bean Man.
It's the Bean Man.
Beans. But yeah, so
So if you're in this area, like go check that out.
Yeah, like honestly, so we actually play every Sunday.
Nice.
Very casual too. Now, when I say very casual, we're talking like if you just have the models just built, not primed or anything like that, you can honestly play.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk into the story about the tournament I got to do later on. It was actually my first tournament, but anyway, this guy he literally built an army overnight, didn't prime, didn't paint it or anything, never played the game in his life, and he joined the tournament. And you know what? He did better than me in it.
So is he good or you bad? Which one? Where are we leaning?
Yes.
Yes.
So from there, that just shows you how casual we are. And, we're not like super competitive either. Yes, there might be some like the moments like if like for a tournament, yes, we'll try and be like that. But we're not going to be like move your character back 2 inches. You moved him too far. Like no, we're not going to do that. And we're also going to do learning curves. Like for me, I mess up all the time, and sometimes they're going to correct me on it, but they're not like you piece of shit. God damn it, throw the models all across the place. No, we don't do that.
Yeah,
and they're really great guys. And honestly, if they weren't there, if they weren't there at that moment when I first played my first mock game with it, I probably would have just fallen off the game just like that.
Yeah.
Like I probably still would have listened to your podcast just for the lore, but probably not as much because I wouldn't be as involved.
Exactly. Yeah.
So really big shout out to them. And I also want to say thanks, Nick, for allowing me to do this. Because I asked for permission and stuff like that. Because I don't want him to.
Does he listen?
No, but I am going to try and put this out to our group and stuff like that. Well, no, for them it's like we also have like real guys who are big into the lore and stuff like that.
Sure.
So and they have some of them actually have heard and listened to you.
Sure.
But I did post this out saying, hey, I'm going to do this, and this, just because I wanted to be,
Sure. No, I was more curious because I know some people they definitely don't want to be associated with Lorehammer. So.
Yeah. So that's just basically what it is. So for later at the kind of like towards the end, I'll if you want to get some contact information or all that, I'll be more than happy to do that because we're always looking for new people.
Yeah, you have to send me a link to Breakpoint Games, like if they have a website or
they do have a website.
I'll post it on the podcast notes or whatever. So.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, just basically wanted to do that. But yeah, so you just want to go ahead and so that's just basically my thing. I'm Imperial Guard player, and I'm just basically
always have been, always will be.
You're damn right, I
Guard
will.
through and through.
Yes.
Yeah.
As the commissar dictates.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a couple ways we could go. Do we want to talk real quick about your lore first? Do we want to do something else? What do you think?
Yeah. So
I just showed up for this episode, so I'm not doing anything.
I'm just here existing, on this corporeal plane of existence. My mind's in the warp.
Ooh, don't like that.
Well, it depends on who you're with.
Eric, usually I'm with. When podcasting, it's not good. Right now, it's okay, though.
It could be worse. Could be with Christian.
One funny thing is people always assume me and Eric are the best friends, but Christian's actually my best friend. It's funny.
Honestly, I could tell.
Yeah, sure. I like Eric. Don't get me wrong.
No.
He's a very close second. Eric was my best man in my wedding.
Oh, wow, really?
But only because Christian couldn't show up, so.
Oh.
The slap in the face. No.
Set him up and knock him down.
No, I like Eric, but yeah, Christian's my best man.
Well, I could also see that because, Christian, I would say, I think he is more of the lore guy, really.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Eric isn't either, but he probably knows a whole, I'd say.
Yeah, like me and Christian, we go out of our way and read lore, where Eric, he'll read it for the podcast, is the difference.
Yeah.
Eric will still go out of his way, obviously, but not to the same extent.
And I think really more or less, you and Christian really play a lot more of the game. Than Eric does, or is it more of like you guys have built more and invested into it?
So me and Christian has always just been into lore. Like he's never had a full army.
Half finished.
He's never even bought a full army. Like
really?
Yeah, he doesn't really enjoy the tabletop. It's not really for him.
Just does it for the hobby.
Yeah, he likes painting and he likes building. And obviously he likes the lore, where Eric, he definitely prefers, I think, Eric likes building, he doesn't like painting, he really likes playing.
Yeah. Honestly, I like all aspects. I mean, the painting part is a bit of a drab, I'm not going to lie, but I tell you what, when you finish a squad of 10 guys or a tank, well, no.
There's that satisfaction at the end.
Actually, the infantry mainly.
Yeah.
Because, the tank, you just basically grab a big green brush of paint and green and lead belcher, go
done.
And done.
Can of spray paint to save you time.
And, that's Necron only.
Okay. Oh wow, you're better than that.
Go back to sleep. But yeah, no. When you're done with those 10 guys and you can see the effort that you put into it, I tell you what, that is one of the most satisfying things with the game.
I talk a lot of shit about being an electrician, but literally the only thing I liked about that job was at the end of the day, you could actually visually see what you did, where, what
do you mean by that? So do you go by house, or are you...
I don't want to get into it. Just know that at the end of the day, I could actually see what I did that day, and I got a sense of accomplishment. It's like that, but for 40K, it's way better because it's actually something I'm interested in.
Kind of a New York style garbage, like a garbage guy who does it in New York City. You got to think about it like that. There's because with them, they don't really have cans or trash cans. They really just more have the bags out on the street, and no one what I actually noticed because I spent a week up there one time. if you go down the street with trash, you barely see anyone out there. But as soon as the trash men come, I swear it's like the whole
Everyone
the whole
comes
street
out.
the whole street becomes alive.
Doesn't smell like garbage out there.
No, it doesn't smell like garbage. It's much more beautiful and stuff like that. So that's what I feel. Really sense of pride and accomplishment.
I feel like you missed your calling. You should be in New York right now cleaning up garbage.
Oh God, no, dude!
Okay.
I wore a whole...
The way you talk about it, your eyes twinkle a little bit. You're like, oh man,
goddamn Yankees!
Ben.
The South will rise again.
Oh my.
But yeah, no, I wore like a white outfit there one day. I came back to Florida. It had that smog yellow all over it. Just ruined it. And it's like, God, y'all are filthy.
Filthy New Yorkers. All right, so where are we going here?
So I guess we can go. I don't have too much on it, but we can do with my lore real quick.
Yeah.
So with the army that I'm building basically two armies essentially, but it's going to be run as like kind of like two brigades really. So
yeah. Two armies that have joined forces, sure.
Well, yes and no. Kind of more like bitter rivalries. So I'm building a Cadian side, and I'm building Talaran.
Okay.
Basically, it's going to be two brothers who are basically in charge of each. One's Cadian, one's Talaran.
Yeah.
Their story so far, so I actually did think more about this.
Nice.
Their father was a tactician advisor for Creed at one point, so very distinguished.
Sure.
You know, high up in the ranks.
Yeah.
And then his sons, after they basically went through all the officer school and stuff like that, it's like the officer prefectoris.
Yeah.
They basically become the commanders of their PDF of a PDF force on just some backwater planet.
Yeah.
And basically, they're not attacked or anything like that, but they are running the unit so far into the ground just because of how poor of a performance that they were doing that a Lord Commissar almost executed them both for the poor performance. But it was their father with how high he was up in the ranks. He pulled some weight. He sent one to a Cadian detachment, one to a Talaran detachment to separate them and to just basically say, you guys fucking suck at tactics. Go learn from some actual good guys.
Sure.
So one from the Cadian side, basically he was like, wow, I really like tanks and things that, you know, fucking do a lot of damage.
Hit hard, yeah.
Hit hard, or when they hit, they're hitting.
Yeah.
And then the other one was like, well, I like mine that move fast and also hit a lot.
Yeah.
So with one, let's just start with the Cadian one. So the Cadian guy, he's going to run. I'm going to run him in as like a power fist, and he's basically got like a power fist and like a las pistol.
Sure.
And his whole thing is just basically basilisks and Lehman Russes and some wyverns, manticores,
all
and
the heavy
death
weapons.
strikes. Basically, all the heavy strikes.
Yeah.
But what he lacks is in like infantry and like fast attacks. So no hellhounds, no sentinels. No, not even transports really.
Yeah.
He's just basically, I'm gonna just bring all this big stuff, but I've got nothing to provide it cover.
Yeah.
And then the other one, the Talaran, he is actually running a plasma pistol, and he has a mechanical arm. But it wasn't the fact that he lost in a battle. No. He was just basically like, my arm is not swinging fast enough, so I'm going to get this prosthetic arm that increases my speed with the power sword.
Perfect.
So, and he is running basically hellhounds, sentinels, and infantry, and I'm thinking about Rough Riders, but I'm going to hold off on them for now.
I'd be a little cautious with them because they might not exist for much longer.
Yeah, no, and then you have to get like the Deathcore Korean.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's another rabbit hole we'll go down.
Yeah.
But so
it's all the fast hitting stuff.
All the fast hitting stuff. So yes, they're doing a lot of like they're outmaneuvering everything, but they're not really like it's taking a while for them to whittle it down.
Yeah.
And so basically, so after they have their training and stuff like that, they're re-merged not as one big battalion, not as one big regiment, but they're two separate regiments, but they're always together.
Sure.
So
these two brothers,
these two brothers, and they're always just kind of sent. I wouldn't say like heavily, like under attack, but basically they're more or less like I'd say the middle ground or the low ground of like warfare. So it's I would say like say Cadia, the Battle of Cadia. For Cadia, that's an extreme scale.
Yeah.
But then, if you look at something like, there's a minor revolt in a planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably getting sent to that. Or, this Xenos decided to stop by.
Yeah, you don't have like this huge army. You've got two regiments, essentially.
Yeah, it's two
regiments are like, 50 to 100 people, typically.
Yeah, but they're still like,
they're being resupplied and stuff.
They're basically the backup force to like, they're more important than the PDF, but not as important as like the guys on the front line. So cleanup crew. That would be the better way.
Okay.
So basically, their fault is that they're always getting in each other's way.
Yeah.
So, yes, they will. I wouldn't say they've always won their battles. I'm trying to determine like how many battles they've won and lost. But I mean, eventually they do win. But I mean, at the end of like the battle, they've lost almost pretty much all their stuff. So they're pretty much almost having to get resupplied. Through their father's, tactical stuff.
Yeah.
So, but every now and again, they do set aside their differences, and when they do, it's basically everything's gone in front of them. They see the target, they're like, okay, you do this, bam, it's gone. And with the story moving forward, and this is kind of where I'm going to leave it off right now. So Cadia's fallen, and one of them's Cadian. All his basically his superiors that were training him to be like teaching him like these Cadian regiments, they died.
Sure.
They died at Cadia.
Yeah.
So he is now filled with this rage, but it's nothing like any of his family seen before. Like, not the brother who's like, they're always like constantly arguing, but they're not like at each other's like throats.
Yeah.
Now he's starting to see something different in his brother, the Talaran one. I don't have the names for him yet. I've got to think of something. But basically, it's almost like he's at a point where I would say he's like close to chaos. But he's not there. He's just so... It's just almost like blind rage. Like, I guess you could look at it as... what's it called with the Blood Angels?
Like the Black Rage?
The Black Rage, yeah. So it's almost like it's blind. Yeah. Blinding. To almost like... There have been points where his lieutenants have to pull him out of battles because he's literally wanting to charge in there front first. Not his guardsmen, but him. Mm-hmm. And all he's got is a power fist and a las pistol. Yeah. That's only got like a 12-inch range.
I hope you play that up in tabletop where he's always charging stuff.
Yeah, so I wanted to do that. I just got to figure out how do I want to do this, but not have him killed.
Yeah, wow.
But I'm not.
Not every tabletop game has to like.
It's not going to be for narrative and stuff like that. It's just me like, oh, okay. Yeah. So he just he has to get dragged back to the infirmary.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of leaving it as. I guess like when the next time you do like a lore, like listener lore. Yeah. I'll have to try and get that, or when it's ready, and then if you want to pick that out or something like that, we can go through there. But yeah, so that's the lore. It's just basically I have a Talaran because I love how the fact that the Talaran, they don't have any penalties for like heavy weapons when they're moving. Sure, that alert works beautifully with like Lehman Russes, or anything that
moving basilisks, perhaps. You don't need to ever move them.
No. Yeah. But like, I mean, look, see the turret on the Hellhound. Yeah. Sure, it's always going to hit, but I mean, it's nice to know that penalty and all that stuff, with like everything else, or my Chimeras for the transports and the Sentinels. Yeah.
Sentinels, like lots of their weapons are heavy weapons.
Oh yeah, especially if you get the armored ones, which those are going to be my next Sentinels I get. Yeah. They can have the plasma guns, and plasma guns now are actually pretty cheap for guardsmen.
Oh, are they?
So yeah, and the Talaran are actually more of the plasma variant.
Just be careful with those plasma cannons. If you overcharge them on your Sentinels, it blows up the whole Sentinel.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a wild way to live.
Yeah, but for their tank order, they can actually move 6 inches.
Yeah.
And still be able to fire or an extra 6 inches after their movement. So let's say Lehman Russ can move 10 inches. He goes 5. Well, now if I give him that order, he can move 6 inches and still fire his main turret twice.
Perfect. Yeah.
So I can literally shoot like whatever, and if there's a piece of cover, move it 6 inches. Bam.
Yeah.
It's now obscured.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, and I also like the Talaran, like with some of the feats they've done. Like I didn't know this, but they were apparently with them and the Grey Knights. They were, I guess, in some kind of battle with demons and stuff like that, and they performed so well that the Grey Knights had actually edged the Talaran name, like the Talaran warriors, into their armor as a sign of like honor. Like, and you gotta think about the Grey Knights. They're
and then they mind wiped them.
Well, mind wiped them. No, they're dead. They're Garsman.
Yes.
So they're like, hey, you did a really good job, bolter to the face. Well, they didn't say good job. It was more like the Inquisition, really. She's like, okay, everyone, huddle up, virus bomb.
Yeah, that'll happen.
But yeah, so that's
no, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, and then with like the Cadians, they're your standard guy, really, and that's why I really love Imperial Guard. They're not they're not a Space Marine. They're nothing special or anything like that. Just a guy with a gun.
Yeah, you can relate to it a lot more, and also there's just so much more variety in the Guard.
Oh yeah, so
you can't write. I don't care what anyone says. You can't write an interesting Space Marine character. No. They're supposed to be like these hip,
or sometimes even a Legion.
Yeah,
you want to. Here's a good example: White Scars. What can you tell me that's interesting about them?
Oh, I can't tell you anything interesting about any of the Space Marines. They're all the way GW writes them and the way they describe them are two very different things. Like they write them as if they're humans, but they describe them as these super soldier gods, right?
Yeah.
And I prefer the way I'm an information guy more than a story guy. So like I would rather read a Wikipedia article than a book. Yeah, and so the Space Marines, like they're described as these like hypno-indoctrinated like super soldiers that are above petty things, but then in order to write them interesting, you have to give them these flaws. But then it goes against the lore. So humans, Cadians, or any type of Imperial Guard, like you can actually write them so they're interesting characters. You can actually evolve their storyline, make them, face challenges, face fear, overcome stuff. Where Space Marines, it's just
they can face and they've done the impossible sometimes. Like
and it's so much more satisfying.
It took 13 Crusades and a Black Fortress to actually bring down Gideon. And it was mainly just guardsmen down there.
Bunch of angry guardsmen with
angry guardsmen with laser pointers. But that's like a feat of in itself. And they've got so many different regiments that unfortunately aren't represented in tabletop. Which we'll get into later. But there's like some that are just mainly focused on like the new one that came out. It's I'll have to look it up. But basically, what they did, they on their planet, they had like the governor was like, I really like big, dangerous animals, and I want to have a lot of big, dangerous animals. What if I got a bunch of them and I put them in a zoo?
Is that that's the Forge World book, right? What is that one called? It was, oh man, I'm blanking.
Imperial Guard regiments.
Oh, it's one of the Imperial Armory books.
It's new.
I'm trying to think what that's called. You're Googling it right now.
Yeah, I'm Googling it. I'm just trying to see. See, 8th edition. Yeah. So. It's only showing me the tactics.
Yeah, because they took a bunch of Tyranids, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's who it is. So, like, that regiment is specifically fighting only, like, their main speciality is fighting Tyranids. Tyranids are already a bitch to fight. So now you're telling me that they are now, specifically... Okay, maybe you can actually pronounce this.
Oh, you're giving the guy who can't read.
So it's that picture right there. It's the Engineer Perfectus.
Okay.
So, yeah. Indigian...
That wasn't who I was thinking of. They must have two stories very similar.
No, but those are the guys, I think.
Okay, interesting.
they can actually pull up the. But
yeah, because I'm thinking of like Inquisitor Solomon Locke, where he went to that planet to like look around for the Tyranids, and they escaped all their pens and overran the planet essentially. Yeah.
This actually tells me how to build it.
Yeah.
Because I thought those guys were cool.
Oh, there's so many good ones. I wish that was one thing like GW or just other people promoted more, was just Imperial Guard variations. Because like there's just so many of them, but
there's so many, and each one's unique.
Yeah,
one like that one specifically designed for because since those dangerous animals escape the zoo, that regiment is designed to basically fight big dangerous animals.
Yeah.
Water Tyranids, big dangerous animals.
Yeah. Other ones you got like the Slavar Chem Dogs, where they just like chemical weapon warfare and like
you like gas.
Yeah,
we got some stinky gas.
Yeah. Oh, they're so good. There's
Take
so
that
many
one,
awesome
carry
ones.
on.
If ever you are looking to do like your own custom regiment, go to Anvil Industries.
Okay.
They got like this custom regiment builder where like you can literally choose the head, choose the arms, choose the chest, choose the legs, and choose the type of gun. And like they're made to look like 40K. But it's so good. When I do my guard regiment, I'm definitely using them.
Oh yeah.
But
I also kind of wish like they had more. Like they also got into like the tabletop too. It's like you show me a picture of them. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But are you gonna really, give them rules? But I also get like we can't just give you
can't make a model for everything, rules for everything. Like it's just
and then some of them are really niche. Like the Chem Dogs. Yeah, they're really cool, but their main thing would just be a Chem Wolf.
Yeah.
Very.
But it'd be like the way guard works usually. It's like they take a bunch of different regiments. Like you don't always have just Cadians on a planet fighting.
Right.
Like they take whatever regiments are available around the system to fight that war. So
yeah, I heard rumors that they're gonna have like a build your own regiment with GW.
Oh yeah,
they're
like,
gonna give them rules and stuff.
Yeah, because like in the Space Marine Codex, in the Eldar one, and I believe in the Dark Eldar one, they've done that now where. They've done that again, where you can choose what special rules you want to put for your regiment. So, yeah, they're going to do it for everyone in 8th edition. It's just a matter of time till they get to guard.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, so that's it for my lore, and then that's like I guess with some of the lore, really. I guess now we can move on to some actual. Discussion. Where are we at? We at almost an hour before we actually started to talk about.
That's fine. I'm just enjoying the weather.
It's so
I'm on vacation. I can't be working doing Lorehammer stuff.
Don't remind me of work, please.
Come on,
my back. Yeah, so I actually got up at 1:00, and then I worked until like about 11:00. Drove here, got here at 1. So, and
yeah, that's dedication.
My back.
Yeah, that's
I work some of the heavier stuff. So, but no, that's really more or less about my side with my lore of my regiment.
That's what you enjoy in 40K. You like guardsmen.
Oh yeah.
You
could really just sum it up to I love guardsmen. That's really it. And I will.
How do you feel about guardswomen?
Honestly, I would. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think when you guys were doing the. Because I'm actually listening again to the podcast, and I just finished it up this morning when I was working, the truck and all that.
Yeah.
You were doing the bonus episode about female representation and stuff like that.
Sure.
She's like, and I remember you really wanted female Space Marines.
Really? I think you're full of bullshit.
Oh, really?
I don't think those words have ever come out of my mouth. I think what I said was I want female Primaris Space Marines.
Right. Who are better?
Who are better than
they get 4 hearts. But that 4th one is full of love because that's what 40K is all about.
Love and acceptance and tolerance.
Equality.
Equality is another big thing in 40K I've heard.
So. But yeah, that's what. As far as like female representation in guard, yes, I think they should do it. There's actually one female guards
commissar.
Woman, commissar.
Yeah,
who I think is really cool figure wise, but I think she needs some better rules and like. Because she's honestly not that far different from like a Lord Commissar.
Sure.
So, or she's like in between a Lord Commissar and then the actual just standard Commissar.
That's kind of what I like. One thing, I know this is a crazy derailment. One thing
You're
I
right.
do not like about 8th edition is it's very hero hammer. You have a hero. They're all
we'll get into that.
Yeah, like there's these super powerful characters. I kind of like it that she's basically just a Lord Commissar, just a touch better. A couple more points. She's not like the difference for like. There's some characters out there that are just like, how does this one Space Marine have 8 wounds with this one only has 1?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's not even like... I understand, like, the Imperial Guards. Like, yes, they shouldn't be, like, super overpowered. Like, I should say... I think Creed has like 4 or 5 wounds, and I think that's probably about it.
But even that, like, why does he have so many wounds? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
I don't-
if we go into lore, Color Sergeant Krell, he takes wounds for him.
Sure, but he also has his own profile of 4/5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a fan of hero hammers.
No.
I know tabletop is not supposed to represent the lore,
No.
but I wish it kind of did.
I wish it kind of did too.
But
that's a discussion for later. But yeah, so with her, I'll probably get her just so I can have a female on the, because I think her model is really cool.
Oh yeah, it's a nice model for sure.
And honestly, if I really wanted to go out for it, I could change. I could probably do something with it. Like maybe I could put it on, get a second of her, kit bash it, and put her on as like a tank commander or something.
Sure.
If I wanted to do that.
Yeah, even you can buy tons of female heads. I don't know if you have looked ever. Was it you? Sorry, I talked to so many people. Was it you who was afraid to work with like third-party stuff?
Yeah, you referred to me as some of it.
Because like there's tons of third-party kits where you can literally buy like female guardsman head with like the Imperial Guard helmet or whatever, tank commander bodies, like, and it's so. I would mix them in.
So
like,
here's what I would really want. I want the option to build male and female like in a box set. So if we go for like, let's go to the infantry squad, the 10-man squad, okay, in the box set.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think the armor, the body should really be that much different. Like we don't have to get the boot plate for it or anything because it's flak armor or anything like that.
Yeah.
I want, if they're going to be like 10 bodies, the 10 legs and stuff like that, but they have 20 heads.
Oh, sure. So you can do all male, all female.
Well,
or variety.
Or variety, really.
Yep.
Like, I wouldn't mind if I had a... Like, if it's all guys, but the sergeant, girl.
Sure.
Show you that feminine leadership, or if it's
sure.
half and half.
Yeah.
Just to
yeah,
show
that would be the way to go. Like, because doing an extra head, it doesn't really cost too much. Plus, like, tons of those box sets already have, like, 5 extra heads in them. Like, maybe not for guardsmen, but...
Well, actually, no. For, like, a Chimera, for example, like the transport tank,
it
gives you 3 heads.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's not going to take up a bunch of sprue space, but it would just make it...
It would make it a little bit more, nice. But the reason why I say 20 heads is because, I'm not saying it's wrong to do it, and I don't want to just, like, buy a bunch of box sets and then... Because I won't have, like, too many females.
Yeah.
I want to... If they're going to be, like, females, they're going to be strong females. Like, not just, like, the standard female.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm more... like, the Sisters of Battle, those are a strong female.
Sure.
And that's what I was like, I want something like that. So I want them in more leadership positions, like sergeants and up.
Okay, sure.
And not really, all squads of female, all squads and stuff like that. So when they do like a box set, I don't want to do half female, half male, and then I have to buy like 2 box sets just to get like a male. I'm not sexist or anything. It's just that's what I think they should do.
No, it's a reasonable thing. Like
and then like just do that with all the box sets.
Most of them.
Most of them.
All Imperial Guard box sets.
Yes.
I'm just watching this crazy little bluebird in the water here.
Oh yeah.
I'm on vacation.
I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation and I can't read.
Yeah.
But, so it's, I guess it's really more or less on that subject.
Sure.
So I've got my theory, blah, 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 blah. So now we're actually going to, or what I suggested is we do a side-by-side comparison from Mr. Experience.
Yeah, that's what the ladies call me. Just silence.
I wish I got called names by a lady.
No.
I wish I got acknowledged by ladies. That weren't my mom.
The one quote I heard, somebody always sends me quotes that we say on the podcast, and the one from me was, I know 2 things in this world. I know a lot about 40K and nothing about women or something.
I know, there's 2 things I know. It's 40K and women. And then Eric's like, "Oh, I can tell you don't know 40K." Or no,
geez.
pleasing women. That's what it was. But yeah. Anyway, so from
Madness.
So
yeah, we're gonna do a side by side.
So obviously, Mark knows pretty much everything there is about 40K. And me, I'm relatively new to the whole scenario, both tabletop and lore wise. So I thought, why not we do a side by side comparing on like certain things,
Sure.
like get a perspective, like maybe someone new who's getting into it or just now listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why don't we also do some kind of like questions that I'm like some frequently asked questions, or I think that are frequently asked questions.
Sure.
So the big one I would say is so right now GW right now is doing something called the Psychic Awakening.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
And it's awakening something. Could it be awakening something?
The Psychic Awakening.
Awakening and go brokening. But anyway, so basically what it is they are trying to advance the plot. Now for me, I am not a big stagnant guy. Like, if anything, I don't want things to stagnate. I can get why it is, because it's the grimdark future, and, there's always going to be, stagnation in that, because everything's decaying, and it's just a slow crumble until the end. So
yeah.
I can see that perspective. But for me, I'm not saying, like, everyone, like, there's going to be a clear winner and we know who it is. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that.
No.
And
you still want it to be a level playing field.
I want it to be a level playing field, and but I also want things to advance to where he's like, oh, okay, here's this big event and it's game changing. However, once that game change happens, something either this equal amount or a greater amount will then equal it out again. Like, for example, during the Horus Heresy, the Emperor is killed, and then, or not killed, he's defeated. But Horus is also defeated. The Imperium is basically pushed to the brink, but then what do? Go on a crusade and push the chaos all the way back into the Eye of Terror.
Yeah.
So that was a huge event. But you know what happened? They did another huge event and basically evened it out.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So for me, that's just basically what I'm saying. Is like, I like it to progress with the story, in a sense, but I also don't want it to be just a one-sided thing. Yeah. So, Mark, you want to go ahead and go first?
So this goes into the whole storyverse setting thing. 40K to me is a setting. It's not supposed to be a story. The problem with the story, and in my mind anyways, advancing it, is Games Workshop is not committed enough to actually advance the storyline. Every single fucking campaign that they do, like you said, it ends in a stalemate. But yet they pitch it like this. It's some galaxy-changing event. So here's a good example. Okay, so the 13th Black Crusade finally destroys Cadia. They make it out to be this huge, big deal. But really? Did it really change anything that Cadia was destroyed? No. There's still other planets in the Cadia system. Cadians are still going to be across the galaxy. There's still going to be the Standard Guard Regiment, right? Yeah. So they try to advance the storyline, but they don't actually advance the storyline. So that's my problem with it. If you're going to try to make an interesting story...
so that wasn't actually in the actual setting? Like, I thought the 13th Black Crusade was, already happened.
Yeah, just recently.
Oh,
happened.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, timeline, because the 13th Black Crusade happened, 3 years ago.
Okay. I thought this was it's already happened and it's been a part of the history.
No. So that is in 8th edition they really did push the lore forward, and that was one of the big pushes. They pushed that, and they also ripped the galaxy in half.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all happened, and Reboot Gilliman's come back and
stuff.
Yeah.
But one, I think that's what I thought was the newest one.
So, but for even that, Reboot Gilliman's back. What really changed? Is he now commanding all the armies of Imperium? They're pushing stuff back? No, not really. He's kind of just doing his thing. What has really changed?
Well, I one takeaway from that is
my parents are here.
Are you guys recording?
Yeah, we are right now.
Hello. Lorehammer World.
You're famous now.
You're famous. Am I famous?
Enjoy.
Just silence.
Just
Yes,
silence and then enjoy. Well, I guess that's the only way to ease my pain. Enjoy the peaceful quiet and serenity of the beautiful world of Florida and the mosquito bites.
So that's my problem with it. Like, they try to hype it up, like the whole psychic awakening. They're trying to hype it up, but we're 2 books in, and I don't see how anything has changed. I don't see how there's new psychers in the galaxy. What have they really done except provide this huge hype with no payout?
Yeah, so back to about Reboot Gilman and all that. So he had a meeting with the ecclesiarchy.
Yep.
And for that, it would just be like, oh, okay, is this where it all ends? Is
No.
this how the ecclesiarchy... No.
No.
No, he's
Status
like,
quo.
yeah, I don't like your ideas, and I don't like what you have done,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to believe the emperor is a god.
Yeah, exactly. So status quo has been maintained. And that's
Yeah.
what I don't like about it. They are not willing to take a risk and actually go and change something. They like to pretend that they're changing things. Oh, Reboot Gilliman's back. It's this whole big thing. What's changed? Nothing.
Yeah, for me personally,
Yeah.
what I would like, and this isn't just like, I would like, well, I guess, how would I word this? So, as far as like things in the world of 40K would go in, I've only thought about this for a little bit, so it's not too deep.
Yeah.
Is that there's a technology resurgence, not in
Sure.
fact like, oh, hey, we just discovered this new type of we just made this new type of weapon. No. I'm saying like, oh, hey, we found these STCs that have somehow made Lehman Russ's better or the las gun better. So something small,
Yeah.
but it could still make a game changing point. So, and it's a technological resurgence. So everything in like 40K is getting like new technology, allows Games Workshop to make new models and stuff
Sure,
like that.
sure.
Pushes that out, and it then sets up for something bigger. I don't know what yet. Perhaps because here in the modern world, when we're at war, technology advances tenfold.
Yeah.
World War II, for example, penicillin.
Yeah.
Or is it World War One? World War One or World
I'm
War
not sure, but yeah.
So penicillin is
Yeah.
made, and it saves like hundreds of thousands of soldiers.
Yeah.
From infection and stuff like that. And that was during war. The U.S. became a superpower because of its because of the might and its production. The way they were just cranking everything out.
Yeah.
And, it was quality product too. I mean, was it as devastating and stuff like that? But no, it got the job done, and it did what it needed to do.
Yeah.
So that's the way I would see it. Here in like 40K, I get that everything is stagnating, and it's slowly like decaying. Like some things they're just lost in time. Like we don't know how this works, and we don't know how to make this again. But basically, hey, we found a couple of STCs that does this, and this.
Yeah.
And now we can make new technology or anything. One thing that I will say, like in far as technology that shouldn't have happened was like Primaris Marines. I get it's an update. It's like, oh, hey, we made a technological advancement in a sense, but it's no.
It's a little much.
Much. I get why they did it, new models, but at the same time, it just would have been like, should have just kept the same models, but given them, just say they have 2 wounds now. Come on.
Or just make new models and not blow up the lore.
Yeah, that too.
Well, I mean, they complain. So here's my best example. So they gave Chaos Space Marines new models. They upscaled them. No one said anything. Mm-hmm. They didn't need to come up with some crazy new lore. That's right.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Isn't that Eric's thing?
That's his thing. That's my brother's thing.
That's right.
That's right.
I could have sworn I always hear Eric like.
Well, oh yeah, that's because Eric.
Yeah,
and Brett
I actually played a drinking game with him when it was the That's Right.
Oh, every time he says it, take a shot.
I did it I can't remember what episode, but I want to let you know, don't ever do it.
Yeah, no, that's how you get drunk real quick.
Oh well, that's how you just wake up next to the toilet.
Look at this sassy little bird walking around here.
I like those ones.
Oh, those are jeez, they're like mini storks.
I call him the sassy bird.
Sassy birds. Well, every bird here is sassy, especially fucking Geese. Goddamn geese. Want to strangle him. Oh, wait. We were recording. I love geese.
Geese? Look at that.
Yeah,
like
this
it.
can show you, basically, ladies and gentlemen, how serious we are with this podcast episode. It's basically shitting around.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what we do.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Like, the advancement of technology, I understand how people don't like that stagnation. For me, that's what 40K is. That's what makes 40K different than any other fandom or...
Right.
Like,
Okay, so here's an intake on it. So nothing changes as far as like technology or anything. Everything is still degrading and stuff like that.
Yep.
But a big event happens.
Yep.
Well, and I mean a big event. I'm
okay with a big event if it actually has consequences.
Yes. I also like when you were talking about Lorehammer.
Yeah.
I don't see it being like Lorehammer's like, are you telling me, for like tabletop, for example, you're telling me that Reboot Gilliman has been to the past 5 systems and he's done this many battles and he's actually lost this amount? Like, he's lost 1 out of 5. He's like, no, he's a Primarch.
Yeah.
He should be able to win all of them. But at the same time, it's like, that kind of defeats the purpose about how strong the Primarch is in the lore.
Yeah,
And,
tabletop can't translate.
Well, no. But I mean, it's just also kind of like, they're just basically trying to sell these models, and it's just...
Ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I can't knock on a company for trying to make money. But I mean, if they make money in like a stupid way, like microtransactions, for example, God damn you, EA.
Yeah. Well, so another thing I don't like about when they try to write story is they make the galaxy feel very small, which I don't think that's what 40K is about, because they always have these key characters that seem to always be in the exact same spot at the exact same time. The galaxy's a big place. Like, just imagine if you tried to find me in Florida and I didn't give you my address. You would never find me.
You better your damn ass I will.
you would.
I saved a little bit of hair when you got off from your seat. Just put in my DNA.
It just seems like too convenient that Calgar is now fighting Abaddon, like the two biggest... it just seems too convenient. It just seems like every battle is too conveniently... The heroes are always there. You know what I mean?
But then when they do get there, it's like, does one die? No.
No, and that's the other thing. Abaddon and Calgar fight. What was the outcome of it? Nothing.
I didn't even know. Calgar's the chapter master of the
Ultramarines?
Yeah.
So that's my problem with them treating 40K as a story, is they're not good at writing a story.
No, the way I would see it is it's almost like a timeline, really. It's like with the books, that's more of the story side of it. But like when the timeline, if you like looking to open up a codex and you like look at these, this happened here at this date and time. That's the way I could see for your setting example. Yes, and the theme, yes, that's part of the setting. But they're just stuck on this like right here between the 41st and the 42nd millennium, and they're trying to almost plan it out day by day, which I don't think they should do it like that.
No, exactly.
They need to do it to almost like, if they're going to push into the 42nd millennium, which I think this is what the psychic awakening is, by the time this happens, or hopefully, I would hope that this would happen, that by the time the psychic awakening is over, it is now the 42nd, and something now has happened.
Yeah, exactly. But not... mark my words, nothing's going to happen at the end of it.
Which is going to suck. I mean, here's a good example of nothing happening. The Drukhari and the Eldari book.
Yeah.
Literally, it was supposed to be a Howling Banshee and just a really good swordsman from the Dark Eldar.
Yeah, Drazar,
okay. He dies, but not really, because his soul is,
He's just going to get resurrected. What was really the consequence of all of that?
No.
And so let's say...
all that's hurt is his pride.
Yeah, and let's do it the flip side, where Drazar actually went and killed Yvraine. Okay, she's just going to get resurrected as well.
Really? Who can resurrect her?
I'm sure, the Incarn or Yanid would, or any of the Chaos Gods.
Oh, okay.
Because... lots of people in the Ynnari faction are being resurrected all the time.
Right, but I thought it was only Yvraine who could do it.
Guarantee, though, they would write somebody else who would. The god would take a specific notice in it. So that's my problem. They write a story, but they're not willing to actually advance it.
Right.
So I have no problem with advancing a storyline if done, so it's actually a story.
What I
and
also
things
like
happen.
about 40K is that no one, how small they really are in the world. Like Game of Thrones, like I never watched it, but I always knew it because it had for all the blood, the sex, and no matter what, like a character's going to die.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
the first couple of seasons, that was pretty much all of it. But
Yeah.
then, like the last two, I always heard complaints of like everyone just seems to survive,
Exactly.
and then the big battle happens, and everyone lives.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like what?
No one
this
wants that.
game, this TV show that's literally like slotting main characters left and right in the first couple of seasons is now like, we all got plot armor.
Yeah, exactly. So 40K just suffers from that, and that's why I don't like
But I also can
that
tell
part.
you, like, well, we just can't kill off everyone because we need to sell the models.
Oh.
Well, from what I can tell from the fans, at least from the interactions I have, the fans are very passionate.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for those of you who don't know, there was a Sisters of Battle box set, okay? A limited edition, there was a certain model, like, there was only in that box set. The Codex design was only in that box set that you could get it.
Yeah.
All right? As soon as they put it up, the website had, like, crashed, and, like, by 36 minutes, all the boxes were gone.
Yeah.
That shows you dedication.
Oh, yeah.
And all it is just an update to the army.
Yeah.
Like, people still had Sisters of Battle and stuff like that, but they did have like revised and like revamped models, so they did look pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, they needed that update.
Yeah, they did, and now they're, because I think all they had was like they didn't have plastic models. Like this is their now plastic.
Yeah.
So now they have that, and that shows you like even though they had like the models, is like I really love the Sisters of Battle. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if Calgar dies and someone new takes over, people are still going to buy it.
Sure.
But I mean, could you still play Calgar in, because I mean, the 9th edition isn't out yet. Okay? There's no 9th edition right now. So they can write a rule, they can create someone new and just give them a data sheet.
Yeah.
That's not that hard.
Yeah.
And then, if you have Battle Scribe, shoot, give it a couple of days when the character comes out, it'll be right there. You don't have to shoot.
Yeah, no fuss.
No
Yeah.
fuss.
So if I was in charge, because like I said, I'm okay with it advancing.
Mm.
If I was in charge, I wouldn't ever make heroes meet each other, because then it's just going to stalemate. I would write books about characters. So you have a Calgar series, and Calgar does not interact with any other named character. There is no... He doesn't go and fight the Night Lord's big bad guy, because then, okay, stalemate. Abaddon versus Calgar, stalemate. So I would do them so everyone kind of has their own book that doesn't go into any of the other model characters. They would make up their own characters for the book.
Right.
You don't do the model versus model characters, if that makes sense. Storybooks. You keep them kind of separate. That way you can still make it go. Calgar goes, and at the end he actually conquers a couple planets. He might kill some crazy character that you thought, but the model line is still safe. That's where they run into problem, is when they're doing, Calgar versus Abaddon. They're trying to tell that story, but you can't do anything with it.
Nah.
But if it was Calgar versus some random Chaos Lord who doesn't have a model, you can do a lot with that then.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, when I see the stagnation... Now, right now, I'm fairly new in it.
Yeah.
So, the stagnation effect isn't really hitting me. But I know in my heart that or at least at the end game, this is where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the Psychic Awakening is happening, and they release, something new for it, every month. But, I mean, so far, the Eldar book, nothing really happened.
Nothing really happened. Faith and Fury, nothing really happened.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened to that one.
I haven't read it, but I've been reading reviews on it, and that's pretty much, they're that was pretty lackluster. Great models, but pretty lackluster story.
Yeah, because I think it was mainly just the Sisters Battle, the Black Templar, and some Chaos.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just another nothing matters story.
Yeah, and then they had the Alpha Legion too.
Oh,
in that one.
sure.
So I mean, that was pretty interesting. I mean, I always remember talking about it, they don't have too much.
No, they don't have a lot of stuff on them.
So that was that's pretty interesting. But then they should be yeah. And then another thing too is what they're saying with GW is during the Psychic Awakening you're gonna get something new for each individual faction and stuff and it's not really. You're either getting some of them, yes.
Sure.
Yes, you are, but some of them it's basically an updated model. The Blood of Baal, you're basically getting a
Primaris Mephiston.
Mephiston. Yeah, he's just an updated model.
I think they did tease some Primaris Death Company. I'm not sure if that was a conversion. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, though.
Yeah,
but
and guess what? Here's something interesting. Adeptus Mechanicus, they're getting a flying model now.
Yeah,
and
that's
their Psychic Awakening hasn't even happened yet.
So the one thing too, like I know you're super new with the Mechanicum, is they're a new faction. They've been in the lore for a long time, but
right?
The faction has only had models for maybe 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
So that if you've noticed,
by the way, that was going to be my second choice. If there wasn't going to be Imperial Guard, it was going to be AdMech. But the only thing that intimidated me was just the detail.
There's a lot of little bits on them. But like if you notice, AdMech gets a lot of support. That's because they have such a very small model line.
Yeah.
Because it's a new faction. It's only 5-6 years old. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it still kind of goes to show, just like, here's this, faction that's been out for years and stuff like that. I'm not saying they need to get, like, I don't know exactly what they would be getting, the Blood Angels, for example, but I don't know, maybe a new type of design or something. Maybe something.
Maybe some Blood Strike Blood Missiles. Probably. It's something with blood in the name, preferably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be ideal, I think.
Bloody Stool.
The Bloody Stool.
The bloody but yeah, as far as like the story goes, I do like the setting idea, but I also want it in that timeline sense to where the setting makes sense. Because otherwise, like when you're reading the books and stuff like that, that is an actual story. But if you're going from like the codexes and stuff like that, there's your timeline / setting view of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else? Another one. So this is a big jump from like story to now the Emperor.
Oh God. Yeah.
So, the way I see it, or my view on it is, the Emperor, is he a god now, or has he transcended into godhood? Not through either through chaos, or through the chaos god, or a material god, or I think those exist, right?
Material gods, like define a god.
An
all-powerful being, the ability to create, destroy. What do you define as God?
Yeah, I would say just like a god, but he exists in the materium.
But what denotes God? What is different?
All-knowing, all-powerful.
Then no, he's not.
Well, what I would see
typically, I think people denote God as the ability to create something out of nothing, like the ability to create, and not just actually create, not just I can create a chair, physically create something that never existed.
Okay.
Think of all right,
so
the Big Bang is something created. That,
okay. So has he transit? Okay, so we're not going to go through Immaterium or Chaos, but do you believe he has transcended to godhood? And the only reason why I'm bringing this up, for example, is yes, people believe that he's still alive, but he's just on the life support. But has he either he's just I don't know, I feel like he technically has ascended to godhood, but on a different way. Like he is still there in the materium, existing, powering the Astronomicon and all that through his psychic energy. However, through his divine being, he's able to grant these powers. Like for one example, creating saints.
Sure, but that's not an Emperor-specific ability.
It's not?
No, any Psyker could buff somebody else, or Yvrain can bring people back from the dead. That ability is not Emperor-specific. So if that's your qualification for him being a god, there's a lot of gods then, right? And that's why I'm saying, you really have to pin down what you actually mean by god or godhood or whatever you want to call it, because the Emperor, he doesn't have any abilities that are Emperor-specific. He's not omnipresent or anything like that. Sure, he's a really powerful Psyker, but there are other Psykers that can do things that he has done. Maybe not as well, maybe not as powerful, but he doesn't show any of these, super levels, or you know what I mean?
Kind of like I guess, for example, like Nurgle creating like new diseases. Like, yeah, he created, so that would be on the level of godhood, right?
Yeah, like he can create stuff. He has mastery over like his realm, like.
Okay.
But even the Chaos Gods, like me personally, like I don't classify them as gods. You call them gods because they're so much above what you are, but they're not gods. Like they're just creatures in the warp that have powerful abilities. But psychers can also create things in the warp, just not to that same extent. So is a psyker a god? No. Right? That's kind of.
So do you believe? So I guess that would tie into. So you don't believe there are any gods in 40K?
No, I don't.
No.
No, I think they use the word god loosely. But typically when you think of the word god, you think of some creator being that has abilities, omnipresent, omniscient, or whatever, all that, and none of the gods show that. It's lowercase g, not capital G.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so would you consider them omnipotent or omnipotent?
No, I wouldn't. The Chaos Gods, no. They don't have ultimate power over everything. Not even in their own realm do they have ultimate power over.
That's
right?
true. I mean, for example, Caldor Drago basically going everywhere.
Exactly, right? So, no, like, they call them gods because, like, from our perspective they are. But
so it's
are they actually?
okay.
No.
No, they just have, from what, I guess, what our mental capacity can do is we don't have a scientific explanation or any explanation on how they're able to do it.
Exactly. But, like I said, like a psyker can go into the warp and create his own bubble of warp. They can do everything that a Chaos God can do, just not to that same extent. Like you said, Calgor Drago's wandering around the warp. He's creating like a bubble of reality around him. He's doing things in the warp. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So back to the Emperor being a god. No, I don't think he's one. I think he's just a really powerful psyker. But,
do you think? I guess more or less, do you think he could possibly? Here's a fun little idea.
Here's a fun little idea.
So you know how like the Black Templar, they do. I guess before they go into battle, they do a chant.
Yep.
And basically, there's the Emperor's champion.
Yep.
So what would you think about this?
Okay.
Ethereals.
This was not where I thought it was going.
Are the champions of the Emperor, but through the Xenos form. So let's say, okay, so let's see this, okay? So he's still alive and stuff like that, he can choose, wherever, and he's already seen humanity, and through what humanity he's done, he's just basically like, okay, I've wiped my hands clean, but I'm going to just keep you guys as a backup. But now he's got ethereals.
Yeah.
And the way ethereals are described, at least in the Tau sense, are almost all-knowing. They've got this presence of like, oh my goodness, I will listen to whatever you say. Who has that kind of ability? Primarchs and the Emperor.
Sure.
And like they've got like this. So I bet no one's ever said like this.
Honestly, I've never heard that one.
Yeah. But, so I like when I think about it, it's just like they have. Eric's like, yes, they have these organs that make you do the silly for them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I think they are given off by the presence, and maybe that organ.
Yeah.
And like the ethereals, for example, that could be where the Emperor is focusing himself onto it. Like,
that's I'm gonna put that on the same level as flat Earth theory of craziness.
Oh my goodness!
Because the Emperor only cares about humanity. He's the most xenophobic, human-only person ever. He only cares about humanity. Why would he care about the Tau?
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't. No, he's wiped his hands clean of it. Like he's basically he tried it twice, and he's basically he's dying. He's dying. Like there's no other choice, and so now he can't really do much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like he still doesn't love humanity or anything like that, but this is just more like do you think it would be a side project? Kind of like God creating humans and then creating aliens.
No, I don't think that.
No.
Yeah, just mostly because of how xenophobic he is would be my main thing. Like, everything he does for humanity, so.
Well, what do you think? Okay, so he's doing it for humanity, yes. And then there's that whole greater good philosophy that's created through the Tao.
But
so
it's so different than everything the Emperor does, though. Like, the Emperor doesn't, like...
But, okay, so there are some Xenos that he kind of keeps around because he needs to learn some technology bits. You know, isn't that... I mean, am I wrong?
The Emperor personally, no. Like, the Emperor during the Great Crusade was conquer the galaxy. Like, he didn't let things survive. Nowadays, like, with the Inquisition, they allow, like, Draco.
Oh, okay, so it's
stuff.
through the Inquisition, not the Emperor?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was no Xenos planets that were spared during the Great Crusade. There might have been, like, the only one I could think of would be maybe Murder with the arachnids or whatever. But,
Is that the one that they failed to...
Yeah. It's the planet was called Murder or whatever. And I think that was more just, they failed to conquer it more so than, they're like, well, you're okay. You know what I mean? It was more.
We'll come back for you later.
Yeah, and that's what I would have seen that one as. It was more. I guarantee you, they probably went back to that planet and virus bombed the shit out of it. You know? Yeah, no, the Emperor the whole, like, we don't know the origins of the Emperors, but one of Games Workshop's theories is, you know, they took a bunch of human shamans, to try to advance humanity. That was their goal. That was their whole purpose. So they combined their souls just for the advancement of humanity. So then for the Emperor to go pick out some random minor Xenos in the middle of nowhere, like, it doesn't quite really jive. Like, why would he not pick, like, the Eldar, something more established, and try to make, like, if he was concerned about making the galaxy a better place, why wouldn't he make alliances with, like, why wouldn't he do an imperial decree where the Eldar are okay? The Eldar would probably sign that. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, there is that.
Maybe not sign it like you're now a part of the Imperium.
You don't bother us, we won't bother you.
That would be more what it would be, yeah, exactly. It's not like an alliance, it's more of a ceasefire would be it. But, like, that doesn't happen. The Emperor is even willing to go so far to destroy his own creations just for the better advancement of man. So, I don't see it ever happening. I think that's a flat Earth theory you got going on.
A flat Earth
You did it.
God damn it.
Yeah.
But how can I see... I can't see the edge over there.
So
How's this water still standing? Should have fallen off.
It's falling off. So I don't know, like you're obviously very new to 40K.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't bully me.
No, I'm not. Like, so one thing too that lots of people don't understand is, like, the setting is like a 30-year-old setting.
Right.
And it's only really been like the last 10 years where they've really started to push heavy on the lore side of things, like writing books and, like, specifically the Horus Heresy. So
yeah, because they've got, like, how many books now of it?
Yeah, like 50 books. But
jeez.
For the first 15 years, the first four editions of the game, right? The Emperor was on the throne. Nothing was known of him. The Horus Heresy was literally a paragraph long. It was, you know, the Horus Heresy was never supposed to be the focus. The Emperor was never supposed to be the focus of the setting. He was an addition. Like, we weren't supposed to know anything about the Emperor. Like, just like the Primarchs, we weren't really supposed to know anything about them. And I think that's what happens too, is lots of people think, like, that's the focus of the setting, that's all important. But really, I don't think it was ever intended for that. I don't think the setting was ever intended for it.
Right, because, I mean, if you focus it on the Emperor and the Primarchs, then they would have already had tabletop pieces and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But then if they did, the game would be over.
Yeah, like...
as soon as the Emperor's on, it's like automatic win turn one.
The one crazy number is 40K
really.
and 30K. It's 10,000 years difference.
Right.
We don't even have 10,000 years of recorded history.
Right.
They were supposed to be these mythological characters. We weren't supposed to know anything about them. And that's what happens a lot too, is why some of the books are really stupid, is they try to tie all these things together, but they were never meant to tie together because they were just supposed to be these rumors, these myths that we had no idea about, you know?
Kind of like when people hear about Space Marines, but so few have ever seen.
Exactly. Like, to see a space marine, you're like that's a god. Like, that's the next thing. Yet, you know, the way they write it, it's like every other day you see one. You got one living in your basement, renting.
Yeah, you're telling me like there's only 1,000 in a chapter, but it seems like for example, the Ultramarines
seem to be across the entire galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, they're helping out the Imperial Fist, they're helping out the Blood Angels.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the times we run into like these really big like questions about like the Emperor, or why did the Emperor do this? And it's like, well, there was never supposed to be any lore about that. And now they're trying to piece this together and try to make it make sense, even though it was never supposed to make sense. You know, let me think of a good example here. Like Angron. Like, why didn't the Emperor just help him take over his planet, then take Angron? Instead, he just took Angron off the planet. Like, obviously, that's a dumb move. Like, how do you explain the Emperor, who's this like super smart, who's supposed to be this super smart guy, doing that? Right. You can't explain it well. The Emperor as a character is a stupid idea because he was never supposed to be a character.
Right. But I mean, how could you even write a character who's supposed to seem like he's supposed to be
almost all-knowing,
and seems like he's flawless.
Yeah.
But then you point it in the lore, you're pointing him as like there's a flaw right there.
Oh yeah, and there's many. Like,
why did Fulgrim?
What's that?
Or was it Fulgrim or Mortarion? With the one with it's the fortress up in the high.
Oh,
mountain.
that's Mortarion.
Yeah, Mortarion. Yeah. It's like that's a fault.
Yeah.
You know, like how could he not convince him or anything like that?
Yeah. So,
or why didn't he just like wake? You know.
Yeah, he goes to other planets and like saves other planets, but he didn't save this one. Like, yeah. So that's often the problem with when new people are looking at the setting. They don't. Not saying that you don't understand. They don't. I don't want to like sound like I'm belittling you.
No, you're all right.
Yeah.
Belittle every day, babe.
Yeah, it's like they don't understand. Like, things don't make sense because they're written originally to not make sense. It was supposed to be myth and legend that's 10,000 years old that were never supposed to be the focus of the setting.
Yeah.
So,
like, for example, like I couldn't get into the 30K like Horus Heresy stuff, like with that game, for example.
Yeah.
Just because I don't like that setting.
Sure. Yeah.
For one, I think
so different.
Yeah, it's so different, and for some, you know how we were going back to like the technological advancement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That stuff that's way too advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some of the, like I've seen like some of those models. I'm like, what the hell? No,
they got some crazy weapons. But for that setting, it was perfect. Like the Emperor around, they're growing their empire. Like, it's a very different setting.
Yeah. But that's the way I see it.
What else you got?
Let's see.
I've shot down your Tau idea. What else? What else can I stomp on?
Mother, I want to go home now. Let me think of. I gotta think of them real quick. You got any for you?
I got some questions for you.
Yeah.
Let me pull up my questions. Okay. So I think you basically answered this one. Your favorite aspect of the hobby is what do you enjoy the most? The hobby, the lore, building, painting, playing. You seem to like it all.
I honestly like it all because for one, so here's me in like a nutshell. If I get into something, I am getting into it all the way.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say, okay, so for like Star Wars Battlefront 2 when it came out, like the new one.
Yeah.
Okay. First month and a half, already put in over like 550 hours.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
that's a lifestyle choice.
Well, not only that, but that is like extreme dedication.
Yeah.
So am I going to get? If I would someday I be able to get into like the amount that you know? Yes.
Oh yeah.
There's a chance. But since, for example, the lore is so big, it's going to take me a hot minute.
Yeah.
And I also don't like reading. So
that's the chore for sure.
The audiobooks is probably going to be what I have to do.
Yeah.
And, for that mainly. But yeah,
maybe I'll tweak the question. Which of all the aspects, hobby, lore, building, painting, or playing, do you find the most enjoyable? Because at first it sounded like it was the lore, but now that you actually got a bunch of models painted, really, a bunch of model build, you've played a bunch of games now.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy the most?
I would have to say playing.
It's a lot of fun. Like you're hanging out with your buddies, you're rolling dice.
Hanging out with your buddies, and you could pull off some like amazing stunts. So here's the first game that I ever played, and this is like the coolest thing that has happened so far.
Yeah.
So I had this Sentinel. Okay. Well, it was basically. Context of the story, I didn't have any of my models or anything like that. I just came in one day on a day that I had off, which was a Sunday, which is the day for the Warhammer stuff. Yeah. Only one guy of the Warhammer group came, okay? And he had all this stuff, and they were Blood Angels.
Yeah.
Okay? But he let me proxy them as Imperial Guard.
Perfect.
So... if you probably saw it, you would think it was a madman. But I used his the sanguinary angels, and
sanguinary,
whatever the ones that the ones with the wings and stuff like. I used them as
sanguinary.
I used them as I proxied them as sentinels. Okay, so one of them had a las cannon. Okay, and I fired it at his main character, his captain and stuff like that. Yeah. Which had 5 wounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So basically the last cannon is basically it's a one shot, but if it hits, it's hitting. So it hits.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, whoa. Because for a Sentinel, its ballistic skill is 4.
Yeah.
And I either got a 4 or a 5 or a 6, so whatever it was. Yeah. It hits.
Yeah.
Okay? Now it's strength 9 versus toughness whatever. I think it's
4 typically.
So it's either going to be 2. So I think it gets a 2. So wounds. And now whatever his toughness was, or whatever his save was. Yeah. And it was a high up save.
Oh yeah, if it was a captain, probably a 4 up invulnerable save.
Yeah, 4 up invulnerable save and all that.
Yeah.
It fails.
Yeah.
Okay? He has 5 wounds in total. I roll a 5. He is zapped. He's gone. And I actually won that game. If the captain was still there, I would have lost. So I won my first game. And I tell you what, rolling that dice and doing that, it's just one dice. It was just the luck of the dice. Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I'm getting into the game.
That might be the only last cannon story I've ever heard that was good. Normally it's you roll a hit, you roll a wound, they fail their save, you roll a 1 for damage. Command point reroll, you rolled a 2. It's why?
Well, see, the problem is what people do is they put it on something that shouldn't have it. For a heavy weapons team, no. You should not do that. You should do it on a tank commander. And then if you really want to go balls to the wall, do it with the Relic of Lost, the Relic of Cadia. Where you roll failed room rolls and hit rolls. But at that point, I'd rather use the last cannons on a Bane blade or something like that that has multiple last cannons.
Yeah.
But so a tank commander, he's hitting on 3s.
Yeah. Makes it a little better, but still,
that's
the chance of rolling a 1 is just as likely as rolling a 6.
Yeah, so you just really got to look at it from a statistics perspective and stuff like that. I mean, you can't really use it on everything. It was honestly, I still have a Sentinel that has a las cannon, but it's dumb because it hits on a 4. Yeah. So there's statistically half of it is gonna fail. Yeah, you're hitting 3 shots a game essentially. Yeah, hitting 3 if it makes it to 3. Yeah. So, but So honestly, it would be plain, but it has to tie into building and painting. I'm not playing that model if it's gray and half of it's it's only half built. So if the tank has its basically everything except the main turret, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, next question. What was the hardest part of getting in the 40K for you? So it would have been the lore. Yeah, really, just because. And it was just the way I received the lore for the first time. Yeah, like you're saying, just a random YouTube video. Yeah, and it was very mundane. It wasn't very basic or anything like that. They just went so deep into just almost a starting video. The first getting to know the I guess the setting of 40K. That video on a timeline schedule. Over 3 hours. Jeez. And I'm and he's even going just so deep into it. It's no, I need to know what is all this stuff. Yeah. And then you have to find the video and stuff like that. Yeah. So that I would say the lore, because I mean, if I didn't like the lore, then I wouldn't be here right now or anything like that.
Yeah, because like even 40K, the tabletop game, it's not a good game. It doesn't play smooth. It's notoriously unbalanced.
If you like, for me, Imperial Guard, if you have if you're heavy infantry, which is something I'm not really to, but I'm gonna have at least 6 squads of infantry. And I've 20 man to 30 of conscripts. And then that's not including characters and command vehicles, and then I've got vehicle squads too. That is a lot of stuff to move. And then you also have and they're what if you go against Tyranids? My God, is that game going to take?
Now you're playing a 6-hour game.
So
it's not a very
before
friendly
we go into
game.
too deep about the tournament and stuff like that. Our first game, it was we were on turn 1. We had just finished turn 1, and everyone was already at turn 3. So that just basically kind of shows you. And they had the enemy had 1,000 Suns and Tyranids, and me, I was the only heavy guy. I had the Imperial Guard. The other guy, he had Magnus and Mortarion, just 2 characters.
Our tournament
and that still
had that
took
too.
long.
Oh yeah, you can play some quick games, or you can slug them out for hours for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, next one. What's one thing you wish you knew about 40K when you first started playing or hobbying or whatever? If there's one thing you wish you knew, what would have been when you first started?
Can you go to further? What do you mean by that?
Did you wish you knew painting was so easy? Something like that. If you could tell yourself, getting into the hobby, what would be one thing you would tell yourself? One misconception you had, one thing you thought was different, whatever.
One misconception, I guess, it would be the building and painting process.
Sure.
So
it seemed more intimidating than it was?
It did seem more intimidating. Now, for me, guardsmen are not, compared to, let's say a Plague Marine, very simple. All you need is 3 colors: Andrew Dust, Castellan Green, and Abaddon Black. And then if you want to go to the details, some white bits for the Aquilas and stuff like that.
Sure.
And that's really about it.
Exactly.
And then for a tank, just green and metal. I just remember when I started the hobby, the internet wasn't really a thing. Obviously it was a thing, but to learn to paint, you had to order a magazine. You had to look at their color splotches where it's they had an image and they're okay, paint this part black, and then the next image there's 18 different colors on it, and they're step 2, do this, and it's step 1, paint it black, step 2, finish the model. It was very tough to learn how to paint. Where nowadays you just hop on YouTube, you can find 1,000 videos on exactly how to paint, because painting, it's not tough, it's all technique. If you know the technique, you can be a good painter. And you also got to take your time with it too.
Yes, and obviously you can't be drunk and have the shaky hand or anything. But as
not
long
only
as
that,
you're
it's just also how much paint. Well, not to go too deep in, how much paint is it? How flowy is the paint? Is it just have you not weighted the paint enough or using wet palettes, stuff like that?
There is some technical stuff,
but
just imagine trying to read flowing paint in a white dwarf, and you're what the heck does that even mean? So I know the level of painting quality from when I started for the hobby as a whole till now, it's crazy. I see people are oh, this is my first painted model. It's that's really good. Where back in the day, it's this is my first painted model. You're oh, I can tell that's your first. Because now you just have so many options to actually learn how to do it. So,
when I
the painting aspect is definitely nothing.
So what I did when I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to dive too deep into it when I painted, when I wanted to play the 40K game, I bought, and this is what I recommend for anyone who's listening and thinking about getting into tabletop, buy one character. It doesn't have to be the super really detailed one, but it could be a lieutenant or something like that.
Sure.
I bought a commissar, just the standard one. And a squad of guys. That's it. You're gonna just paint those guys. You're gonna build, prime, and paint them. That's it. And you're gonna look at them and you're gonna say, you're gonna think, well, how hard was this to build? Which honestly, the building is pretty the
Anyone can do it.
easiest part.
Yeah.
And then how hard, what the priming even easier. How hard was it to paint?
Yeah.
And it also kind of goes down to like how heavy, or how detailed of a painter you are. Like for me, yes, I'm gonna make sure that I don't have this big splotch of green on the pants.
Yeah.
But like for example,
Yeah,
and then
your
I'm gonna
painting
try and,
was very clean.
yeah, I'm gonna try and tidy it up as much as I can too. But it's not gonna be like I'm getting those layering paints too.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be battle ready, not parade ready.
Yeah.
So, but even within, that's what I would do, and that's how I did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was like once I slugged it through, and I got to those. It was feeling so great when I was on that, putting on those finishing touches on the last couple of guys. And then I got to see and look, and then I let the wash dry. I woke up in the morning, individually looked, and I was like, this looks badass.
Yeah, exactly. I often get asked like, "What's your painting advice?" So like, I got my joke response like, "How do you motivate yourself to paint?" And it's just, don't be a bitch and just go paint. Are you a grown adult? Can you not control yourself?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Here's
Just go
an
do it.
thing. I have ADHD.
Yeah, and you can paint. It's fine.
No, for 6 hours. That for someone who's like literally like, okay, she's like, oh, look, swirl.
Yeah.
But that's what that's how I did it, and that's That's
and that ties into like the other advice is I say go watch videos, but then the other thing is like you said, buy what you're gonna buy and paint that. And then keep it somewhere where you can see it, and then buy your next box, paint that. I see too often people just go spend $1,000 on Lorehammer, and they have this sea of gray plastic, and you're never going to get to it.
No,
You're never going to do it. Like what I always do is when I do it, because I usually buy my whole army and then I start painting it, because I just usually buy it in the course of a week or two type thing,
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. But I build everything, I put away everything so I can't see it, and then I start painting, and then I put the painted models beside me while I'm painting, and I just start watching the models grow and grow. I never look at my unfinished gray painted models, because it's just like, oh, there's so much to do. But then I do see, every time I look over, I get that endorphin hit where it's like, look at what I painted.
Yeah.
So
minus the stuff that I'll be getting for Christmas.
Yeah.
But what I do is I buy like 1 or 2 box sets at a time, and I work on the one box.
Yeah.
I don't build them all together.
Sure.
I did once, and that was for my 3 Sentinels and the heavy weapon squad.
Sure.
Which was like, it wasn't actually that bad, but I mean, I probably shouldn't have done it. But I really wanted to get them out because we were playing the next day.
Yeah.
So, and I actually woke up at like 3 a.m. just to prime and paint the Sentinels, which were like the hardest ones. And I also had to cut my grandparents' yard that day too. So I was dedicated to do it. But yeah, so I buy the box sets, and I don't open all of them. I open one.
Yeah.
So like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, how I told you about the command squad yesterday?
Yeah.
They're built.
Yeah,
they're built. They're not primed or anything like that. I'm going to do it when I get home. Probably not until like next week, just because I'm also spending the weekend with my mom and all that.
Yeah, sure.
But they're built, and they're going to just sit there, and I'm not opening anything else or doing anything until they're built, until they're primed and painted.
Yeah,
because that way I can look at it and like,
we got a little different way of doing it, but ultimately the goal is to not look at gray painted models.
Gray painted models,
that is
or
just
the amount of boxes you have.
Yeah, like that's just the biggest downer.
Yeah, like probably what I'm going to do, like when I get the amount of boxes I get, I'm probably going to put them away somewhere. I don't know where, but I'm just going to like paint them, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay, I got one final question for you,
okay.
And then it's almost another hour here, so I think we'll wrap it up after this one. But what's one mystery in 40K you wish you had an answer for? What's one thing you wish you knew? Do you wish you knew what the Void Dragon was, perhaps?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. What's one thing you wish you knew about 40K?
One thing, now is this just for like lore, or is this for...
Yeah, specifically like some mystery in the lore. Like, do you wish you knew how the Emperor was made?
No, because I can pretty much understand that concept right there. I want to know what would happen after, like what would be the Emperor's next big step after his secret web raid project would happen.
Sure.
Basically, that web raid project is basically, okay, now humanity can access everything. Okay,
yeah.
Now what? What's going to be after that?
Well, like, then 40K would just be like any other, it'd be more like Star Trek almost. They would conquer the whole galaxy, it'd be a peaceful place, it'd just be adventure and love and happiness, equality for everyone. Yeah, no, that is interesting because like they were super close to conquering the galaxy, but with the webway, would that then maybe give them the ability to go to another galaxy? Maybe. Well, like the upper edge against what? There was nothing else left.
Yeah,
like
and what would happen after they conquered
chaos.
Everything?
Yeah, like there wouldn't have been chaos. 10,000 years later, the Nids and the Necron would have woken, but like if the galaxy is unified, they would have been able to.
Yeah, and not only that, it's just kind of more or less what exactly, like if the Necrons woke up, they would deal with that. But they say that the Emperor's Astronomicon is what is keeping it. Was he still doing that when he was alive?
The Astronomicon, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right.
Yep.
So it'd probably be a lot easier to deal with.
Yep. Yeah, so that would be your thing. Like, what was the Emperor's end game?
Was
there ever a point in the Emperor's thought process
to evolve humanity to his level?
Yeah,
like they become essentially emperors that are just like him, or it's just basically, well, now you've got all this technology and there's nothing in the world that can. Like,
and now he's just going to sit back on his throne and rule.
Yeah,
like was there ever peace in his mind that he's seen, or was it going to be we've conquered this galaxy, now we're going to the next one? Now I see what you're saying. That's interesting.
Yeah, so.
Cool. Okay, well, I think that's it, because I think my parents are going to eventually want to make noise again.
Yeah, I bet. Well, Mark, I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. Mark, it's crazy, like...
Yeah, it's honestly awesome if you get to, meet like someone that you really idol and then, that really helped you get into something. So.
Yeah. Well, me and Eric were still enjoying doing it, and it's always awesome to hear, like, stories. Every now and again, we get nasty emails, but we get far more positive interactions where we get to meet awesome people, and
But so I guess really more or less, just again, shout out to Breakpoint Games.
Yeah, go check them out.
They'll put a link in the description and everything on that. If you want to, I guess if you guys, can I put it in my Twitter?
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it on my Twitter, nothing on Instagram, just because that's more like the personal.
Sure.
But I do play 40K a lot. So if you want to follow me, it's at FrostDen, and it's Frost_Den, all lowercase, just FROSTS_DEN. That's just my Twitter.
If you're in the Florida, where do you live? What town?
It's in so if you're like in the Mount Dora area, basically Central Florida, you want to go from there.
If you're in Central Florida,
or if you're in Florida at all and you want to make that drive, hey, just let me know. We can try and set something up in a play.
Yeah, man.
But other than that, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's always awesome meeting people. So I think we're still going to hang out for a bit. But
and honestly. So next time, if you're in Florida, we got to plan on something for that.
Yeah. Next time I come down, I should have brought an army this time.
Yeah. Not only that, when you tell me the next time you're here, we'll set up something at Breakpoint.
Yeah.
And like when I'm for vacation and stuff like that, we'll plan something when I stop by in Calgary.
Ooh, that'd be so good.
Oh yes. Oh, yeah. Then I can give Eric the foot rub. So
all right, let's go do that now.
Okay, I've got the lotion.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. How does Eric normally end episodes?
Dope penis.
You heard it here.